Hey you guys, so it is time for this massive pile that I have in front of me that you saw in the thumbnail, I think, as long as it worked, I don't know. Anywho, so last month, as you guys saw, I read 10 books, which it has been a very long time since I have actually read 10 books in a month. Now, going into this month, I have 8 books on this TBR in front of me, which I think is doable, but we will see. So, without further ado, because again, I think this video is going to be fairly long, but we'll see. Only you guys know what the length of this is. Early me has no idea. Without further ado, let's get into the books that I plan to read this month. So first off, I'm going to go into the new reads, and then I will touch on the 3 rereads that I have ahead of me this month. So the first 3 books I was originally planning on reading during the Alphabeton last month, and then I just didn't have time to read all of them. So the first book of these books I was going to read last month, but I'm going to read this month, is The Wedding Date by Jasmine Guillory. I was super excited to get to this last month and then just never really had the desire to pick up this particular book. But I really am still interested in it, and I think it'll just be a fun read for this next month. And so yeah, it's gonna be on this month's, and I think it might be one of the first books I actually pick up this month because I think it'll be a pretty quick read, so hopefully. The next book that I hope to get to this next month is The Selection by Kira Cass. This has been on a TBR of mine, I think, for the last 2 or 3 months, but I think this month I will finally get to it. It's just, I know it's a fun series, and I have the original trilogy because I know that now there's another 2 books at the end of it. So I really want to get to this because this will be an easy read to get the number down for my overall TBR. And yeah, I think I'll enjoy it because it's a pretty easy, quick read. And I know there are so many people out there that do enjoy it, so I hope that I feel the same. The next book, I'm actually like, let's see, I'm like 50 pages into it. I don't know what percentage that means, but that is Wonder Woman Warbringer by Leigh Bardugo. I was reading this towards the end of last month and then kind of just lost steam about it. And so I'm gonna obviously try and finish it this month. And yeah, I was really enjoying it. It's an interesting story because it's a brand new story about Wonder Woman and her story and kind of her beginnings. Starting out, obviously she's still Diana when she's Wonder Woman, but kind of her background as Diana and kind of her home with the Amazons. So it's an interesting, not retelling because it's not really a retelling, but it's Leigh Bardugo's idea of what a story of Diana's would have been, or is, or whatever, because anyway, she's a mythical person. I hope Wonder Woman's real. That's just down in my deep heart. Anyway, but yeah, so I was enjoying it. It was just kind of a different story than what I was picturing originally, so it kind of took a little bit more to get into it. But yeah, the next book that I would like to get to is The Girl in the Castle by Santa Montefiore, I think is how you say it. I really enjoyed the synopsis of this book. I'm technically I think I'm like 20 pages into it so far. I will obviously restart it when I read it because it's been a few months since I've read those first 20 and it's like 20 pages, so I'll just reread those. I might also try the audiobook to see kind of how the audiobook differs from me reading it by myself. But yeah, so I want to get to this because this is one of the top 5 books that I wanted to finish for this year, so I was like, oh, I'll just throw one of those books into my TBR for the month. The next book might actually beat out The Wedding Date, and that is A Beautifully Foolish Endeavor by Hank Green, the second book in, I think it's technically the Carl duology. The cliffhanger at the end of the first book just left me wanting more, and then I had more just sitting on my shelf and chose not to read it. So I think I'll be, again, listening to this entire book because it is a full cast audiobook, and that just excites me, which means it's in multiple point of views, which means listening to them will all be in my ears and it'll be beautiful. So yeah, I'll be getting to this one very, very soon. And I don't know if I showed you guys, but I signed because I got it at the beginning of last month. I signed. I didn't get a hanklerfish, which is sad, but I just bumped my camera. It is one of the rare red signatures, which is fun because most of them that I've seen were black. And also it looks like it was actually towards the end of one of his red ones because it's slightly faded, so it might have been one of the last red ones of that specifically red, whatever. Yeah. Next are 3 rereads. 2 of them won't come as a surprise. 1 of them will. So the first book that I need to reread this month is The Fade Out, Act 1 by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. This is just because I have the second and third acts in this graphic novel, comic book, bind up, mass market, whatever, I don't know exactly what this is technically called, trilogy. And I want to, it's been probably 2 or 3 years since I've read this, and since I have the second 2 that I want to get to soon, because it's easy to throw in a graphic novel or 2 during a month, I needed to reread this in order to do so. So I'm going to reread it this month, because this will just be an easy book to reread when I'm feeling just I need a little something to flip through. And the last 2 books that I need to reread this month are The Red Pyramid and The Throne of Fire by Rick Riordan. Obviously, this is my July and August rereads, because I purposefully did not reread The Red Pyramid last month, because it didn't count towards anything because T and R were already taken up by other Rick Riordan books. So I just put it off because I was like, I am now caught up. I can get a little bit behind. So I'll be rereading these this month, or at the very least all of this one and at least the start of this one, and then we'll go from there. To give an update kind of on where I'm at with my rereads and things like that, so though the Kane Chronicles trilogy will be July, August, and September, so next month's book will be The Serpent's Shadow. Within those, I also have all 3 graphic novels. So next month, I will be for sure reading the Red Pyramids graphic novel, and possibly Throne of Fire, or I will bump Throne of Fire to not next month, but to October. Kind of just depends on how my reading goes. And then I have all of his little, I don't know, companion books technically. So there is one for the Kane Chronicles that I will be reading after I finish the trilogy, and then October, November, and December will be the Magnus Chase trilogy. So, and then those also have some companion books, but those might not come into play until January, but we will see. So that's kind of where I'm at on my rereads and then next year I will get into the Trials of Apollo with those 5 books, and then we'll go from there. I won't talk about my next year's reread plans because I have a couple of things up in the air, but that doesn't need to come into play until the end of 2020, which feels like a lifetime away, and I don't want to talk about my plans for 2021 yet because we are still 5 months away. 2020 has been one of the longest years, one of the longest months. If only 2020 was a month. It's been one of the longest years so far in terms of like energy, because normally I would be working a lot more, and I've been stuck in my house for the most part for the last 4.5, 5 months, and it is insane and exhausting, and I just would like to get back to some semblance of a schedule of like leaving the house to go to work or go to an event or do anything out of the house that is productive. I have just recently been able to get back into doing maintenance in our theater space, which is wonderful. So I'm going on a couple days this next week, and then I think one day the following week right now for sure. then who knows from there. And it's kind of just a few hours here, a few hours there, just because we have to do something this summer to do our normal maintenance. But we are a theater and a school, and so we cannot bring in students because of COVID and rules. So it's just not normal, which is, nothing is normal right now. But anywho, that is it for this video today, guys, and I will see you guys all in my next video, whenever that happens to be. Goodbye!